My dear brothers and sisters, there will come moments in your life when you feel the world has turned against you. Sometimes it is your enemies who rejoice at your struggles. And sometimes, heartbreakingly, it is even those you call family or close friends. They may smile when you stumble. They may whisper, "This is your time to fail." But remember this, Allah is always watching. He knows your efforts. He knows your sincerity. And He knows the truth that others may fail to see. Trials do not define you. Your response does. At that very moment, when it feels like the world is against you, take one simple step forward. Just one step. Don't try to climb the entire mountain at once. Don't let anger, hurt, or despair freeze your heart. One small step of patience, one small step of perseverance, one small step of trust in Allah can change everything. The Prophet said, the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, while there is good in both. Strength is not just physical, it is resilience, it is patience, it is maintaining your faith when everyone else doubts you. Do not waste your energy worrying about those who wish to see you fail. Instead, invest it in your prayers. Remember Allah. Seek His guidance. Let your actions be the answer, and let your patience be your shield. Know this, every difficulty you face is a hidden blessing. Every setback may be the beginning of a greater rise. What others see as your downfall may be the seed of your elevation. Allah tests those whom He loves, and He will not burden you beyond what you can bear. So, my dear brothers and sisters, when the world applauds your misfortune, stand tall. Take one simple step. Move forward with faith, dignity, and hope. Let your response be stronger than their doubts, brighter than their whispers, and closer to Allah than ever before. Remember, the best revenge is not bitterness. It is success, patience, and faith in Allah. Keep moving forward because Allah's help is near and your victory is already written. Life, my dear brothers and sisters, is never as simple as we sometimes wish it to be. We often imagine a path of ease where our efforts are immediately rewarded and every step we take brings comfort and joy. Yet, the reality of this world is far different. Allah reminds us in the Quran that life is a test and the trials we face are not meant to destroy us but to shape us. They are the means by which Allah refines our character, strengthens our patience, and deepens our reliance on Him. Understanding this truth is the first step in navigating the storms of life with grace and faith. The trials that come to us are varied and unpredictable. Sometimes they appear as challenges in our personal lives. Conflict with loved ones, betrayal by those we trusted, or the pain of losing someone dear. At other times, they may manifest as obstacles in our professional or spiritual pursuits. There will be moments when people we thought would support us may instead rejoice at our misfortune, whether openly or silently. Perhaps a colleague takes delight in our struggles, or a friend's words sting more than any enemy's because they are spoken from a place of familiarity. Even relatives, the very people who are meant to protect and encourage us, can sometimes become sources of disappointment or even opposition. In these moments, it is easy to feel abandoned, discouraged, and confused. But it is precisely in these moments of discomfort and challenge that our awareness of trials becomes crucial. Awareness does not mean simply recognizing that difficulties exist. It means understanding their purpose and placing them within the greater framework of faith. Allah reminds us in the Quran, do the people think that they will be left to say, we believe and they will not be tried? Surah Al-Ankabut 29:2. This verse is a powerful reminder that trials are not a sign of failure or divine neglect. They are evidence that we are living lives that matter, that our faith is active, and that our character is being tested. Those who face difficulties with patience and trust are the ones who earn true spiritual elevation, not merely worldly success. Awareness of trials also involves understanding the transient nature of the world. When relatives or enemies applaud our setbacks, we must remind ourselves that their opinions, while emotionally powerful, hold no real weight in the eyes of Allah. Their fleeting satisfaction does not define our worth, nor does it determine the ultimate outcome of our lives. Life is not a series of applause and jeers. It is a series of moments in which we choose our responses. And those choices are what matter most. The Prophet Muhammad taught us that trials are a test of sincerity, of patience, and of the ability to maintain honor and integrity in the face of adversity. When we internalize this perspective, we begin to see each difficulty not as a personal attack, but as an opportunity to grow closer to Allah. and to strengthen the qualities that will endure beyond this world. Another important aspect of being aware of trials is recognizing the role of inner resilience. Challenges, by their very nature, demand that we dig deep within ourselves to find strength we may not have known existed. When people around us celebrate our hardships, it can be tempting to succumb to anger, despair, or resentment. But awareness reminds us that these emotions, while natural, are not the responses Allah desires from us. Instead, our awareness encourages us to rise above the negativity, to approach our trials with patience, wisdom, and dignity. It teaches us to respond not with vengeance or bitterness, but with perseverance, prayer, and action rooted in righteousness. Every hardship becomes a mirror reflecting our inner fortitude, and every trial becomes a stage for demonstrating the power of faith in Allah. Finally, awareness of trials includes recognizing that they are temporary and purposeful. No test lasts forever, and no struggle is meaningless. Each challenge, whether it comes from enemies, the world, or even those close to us, carries lessons that can illuminate the path ahead. When we are aware, we can extract these lessons, learn from them, and emerge stronger, wiser, and more spiritually attuned. Awareness allows us to maintain perspective, to see beyond immediate pain, and to trust in Allah's wisdom. It transforms suffering from something that diminishes us into something that elevates us. It shifts our focus from the applause or condemnation of others to the approval of Allah, which is the only praise that truly matters. In essence, being aware of trials is about cultivating a mindset that sees life's difficulties as a means of spiritual growth. It is about recognizing that opposition, even from those closest to us, is not necessarily a mark of our failure, but a sign that we are being prepared for something greater. It is about embracing patience, dignity, and unwavering trust in Allah's plan, knowing that every test carries within it the seeds of wisdom, resilience, and ultimate success. When we internalize this awareness, we no longer fear trials, nor are we weakened by the applause of those who wish us harm. Instead, we step forward with confidence, faith, and clarity, ready to turn every challenge into an opportunity for growth and every obstacle into a stepping stone toward our destiny. Faith, my dear brothers and sisters, is the foundation upon which a believer builds everything in life. It is not merely a set of beliefs to be recited in words. It is a force that shapes our hearts, guides our actions, and steadies us when the storms of life threaten to overwhelm us. Strength in faith is what allows a person to face trials, opposition, and setbacks without losing hope or falling into despair. It is the inner anchor that holds firm even when the winds of life blow fiercely, when enemies rejoice at our struggles, or when those closest to us fail to support or understand us. The reality of life is that challenges are inevitable. The Quran reminds us that Allah tests every soul according to its capacity, and these tests can take many forms. They may be difficulties in wealth, health, or relationships, moments when circumstances seem unfair, or times when people around us, friends, colleagues, or even family, appear to celebrate our difficulties. These moments are painful, yes, but they are also opportunities. Opportunities to strengthen the most important part of our being, our faith. Faith is not just about believing in Allah when life is easy. It is about trusting Him when life is difficult, when the path is unclear, and when it feels as if the entire world has turned against us. To have strength in faith means to cultivate trust in Allah's wisdom, even when our own understanding is limited. We may not always comprehend why hardships come our way, why some doors close while others remain shut, or why people we love may seem to betray us. Yet, it is precisely in these moments that faith is tested and refined. A person with strong faith does not allow doubt to weaken their resolve or despair to cloud their vision. Instead, they remind themselves that Allah is the most wise, the all-knowing, and that every difficulty carries within it a hidden benefit, a lesson, or a blessing that may not be immediately apparent. When the Quran says, "Indeed with hardship comes ease," Surah Al-Inshirah 94:6, it is a reminder that no trial is permanent and that relief, growth, and reward are always close behind. Strength in faith also requires patience. Patience is not passive resignation, it is active perseverance. It is choosing to remain steadfast, to continue striving, and to maintain hope even when the world seems to mock our efforts. The Prophet Muhammad faced countless challenges in his life, yet he remained steadfast in his mission and in his trust in Allah. His faith was not shaken by enemies, nor by the disbelief of those closest to him. His strength lay in knowing that ultimate success is not measured by immediate results or worldly applause, but by pleasing Allah and remaining upright in His guidance. This is the essence of strength in faith, the ability to rise above temporary setbacks and to focus on the eternal reward that awaits those who remain patient and sincere. Faith also strengthens the heart against negativity. When people celebrate our misfortunes, whether openly or secretly, it is easy to feel anger, resentment, or humiliation. Yet a person with strong faith recognizes that the judgment and applause of people are fleeting and insignificant compared to the approval of Allah. Faith allows us to remain dignified in adversity, to respond with wisdom instead of impulsive reaction, and to focus on what truly matters. It transforms challenges from sources of despair into opportunities for personal growth, spiritual development, and the demonstration of resilience. Another aspect of strength in faith is reliance on prayer and remembrance of Allah. Faith is not merely an abstract feeling. It is expressed through action, through turning to Allah in times of need and seeking His guidance and support. The one who prays sincerely, who remembers Allah in hardship, and who maintains connection through dhikr and supplication strengthens their heart in ways that worldly achievements cannot replicate. Each act of worship reinforces trust, patience, and resilience. When faith is alive and active, no amount of opposition can shake the believer, for their strength is rooted not in circumstances or human approval, but in their relationship with Allah. It is also important to remember that strength in faith does not mean that a believer will never feel fear, sorrow, or doubt. Human emotions are natural, and even the most faithful experience moments of weakness. The difference lies in how they respond. The strong believer acknowledges these feelings but does not surrender to them. They seek refuge in Allah, they remind themselves of His promises, and they continue forward step by step with determination and trust. This conscious decision to persist, despite internal and external challenges, is the hallmark of true strength in faith. Ultimately, strength in faith transforms adversity into opportunity. It allows a person to rise above criticism, betrayal, and opposition. It gives clarity when confusion clouds judgment and courage, when fear threatens action. When we strengthen our faith, we strengthen every aspect of our lives, because faith becomes the lens through which we interpret our circumstances, the compass that guides our decisions, and the anchor that holds us steady amidst life's storms. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, let us strive to cultivate strength in our faith. Let us trust in Allah's wisdom. Remain patient in the face of trials. Seek His guidance through prayer, and remember that true success is measured not by applause or approval, but by our steadfastness and devotion to Him. When enemies rejoice at our struggles, when challenges seem overwhelming, and when those closest to us fail to understand, let us stand firm, for faith is the ultimate source of strength, the shield that protects our hearts, and the light that guides our path towards success in this world and the hereafter. Patience is one of the most profound qualities a believer can cultivate, for it is the foundation upon which resilience and dignity are built. Life, as we know, is filled with tests, obstacles, and moments that try our hearts and minds. Sometimes these trials come in the form of hardship or misfortune, and other times they emerge from the very people we love and trust. When relatives or close friends fail to support us, when enemies rejoice at our setbacks, or when circumstances seem overwhelmingly unfair, it is patience that allows us to endure with strength and composure. Patience is not merely waiting for difficulties to pass. It is an active, conscious choice to respond to adversity with faith, wisdom, and grace. The Quran emphasizes the importance of patience repeatedly, reminding us that it is a quality beloved to Allah and a source of immense reward. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says, "And seek help through patience and prayer, and indeed it is difficult except for the humbly submissive." 245. This verse illustrates that patience is not a passive act, but a dynamic engagement with life's challenges. It is about maintaining composure in the face of injustice, disappointment, or betrayal. When people around us celebrate our difficulties, Patience allows us to rise above the negativity, to protect our hearts from bitterness, and to preserve our dignity in ways that mere anger or reaction cannot. Dignity is closely tied to patience because it reflects the inner strength of a believer. When someone reacts impulsively with anger or vindictiveness, they may momentarily satisfy their emotions, but they often compromise their character in the process. True dignity, however, comes from maintaining self-respect and moral integrity regardless of how others behave. It comes from understanding that our worth is not determined by external opinions, but by our actions, intentions, and adherence to the guidance of Allah. A patient person with dignity faces humiliation without losing self-respect, encounters criticism without letting it define them, and navigates betrayal without surrendering to despair. The life of the Prophet Muhammad provides countless examples of patience and dignity. Throughout his life, he faced immense opposition from enemies who sought to harm him and from individuals who doubted or betrayed him. Yet he maintained patience, never responding with unjust anger or cruelty, and he preserved his dignity through wisdom and measured action. His example teaches us that patience and dignity are not signs of weakness. They are marks of profound strength and unwavering faith. By emulating this approach, believers learn to channel their energy into constructive responses rather than destructive reactions. Patience also allows a person to think clearly and make decisions with wisdom. When we are hurt or wronged, our first instinct may be to lash out, to argue, or to retaliate. However, patience creates a pause, a moment of reflection in which we can assess the situation objectively. It prevents us from making choices that might exacerbate the problem or harm our spiritual well-being. In this way, patience becomes a shield, protecting us from emotional impulsiveness and guiding us toward actions that uphold both our dignity and our faith. Moreover, patience and dignity are interconnected in the way they influence our relationships and social interactions. When relatives or friends fail to support us, when colleagues speak ill of us, or when adversaries celebrate our struggles, responding with patience demonstrates moral strength and spiritual maturity. It disarms hostility, commands respect, and sets a powerful example of faith in action. Others may not understand the depth of our restraint, but Allah sees and rewards every act of patience, no matter how small. As the Quran reminds us, indeed, Allah is with the patient, 2:15-3. This assurance reinforces that patience is never wasted and that dignity maintained through perseverance carries eternal significance. Patience also nurtures inner peace. When we surrender to anger, resentment, or despair, we allow the negativity of others to penetrate our hearts. But with patience, we create a space in which the soul can remain tranquil, focused on what truly matters. We understand that the trials we face are temporary and that every difficulty carries within it lessons and opportunities for growth. By maintaining dignity in adversity, we affirm our commitment to our principles, our faith, and our purpose in life, rather than allowing external forces to dictate our emotional state. Ultimately, patience and dignity are intertwined with trust in Allah. A patient person trusts that Allah's plan is perfect, even when circumstances appear unjust or confusing. They understand that setbacks, betrayals, and hardships are not the end of their journey, but steps along a path designed by Allah for growth, refinement, and eventual success. This trust reinforces their patience, and patience, in turn, preserves their dignity. Together, these qualities create a resilient heart capable of navigating life's most challenging moments without losing faith, integrity, or hope. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, when you encounter those who rejoice at your setbacks, when you face opposition from enemies or disappointment from loved ones, remember the power of patience and dignity. Allow patience to guide your actions, to calm your heart, and to strengthen your resolve. Let dignity shape your response, ensuring that you act with wisdom, composure, and moral integrity. Understand that your true strength is measured not by the applause of others, but by your ability to endure with faith, uphold your principles, and maintain a heart centered on Allah. In cultivating patience and dignity, you embrace the qualities that elevate a believer, protect the soul, and lead to success both in this life and the hereafter. Life, my dear brothers and sisters, can often feel overwhelming. The challenges we face may seem insurmountable, the burdens heavy, and the opposition relentless. At times when enemies rejoice at our struggles, or when even those closest to us appear to doubt our path, it is easy to feel paralyzed. We may find ourselves stuck in fear, anger, or despair, unsure of how to move forward. In these moments, the solution is not necessarily to make grand gestures or to attempt to solve everything at once. Rather, the solution is often found in taking one simple step forward, a small, deliberate act of faith, perseverance, and courage that sets the wheels of progress in motion. This principle is powerful because it reminds us that we are not alone in our journey. Allah is with us, guiding us, supporting us, and opening doors that may seem closed. The Prophet Muhammad faced tremendous challenges, yet he did not allow the enormity of his mission to overwhelm him. He began with small steps, teaching one person at a time, acting with patience and wisdom, and trusting Allah to multiply the impact of his efforts. Similarly, in our own lives, progress does not require perfection or immediate success. It requires action, however small, that demonstrates trust in Allah and commitment to moving forward. The one simple step is more than a metaphor. It is a practical approach to overcoming fear, doubt, and stagnation. When faced with hardship, we often become consumed by the scale of our difficulties. We focus on what has gone wrong, on the obstacles in our path, or on the people who seek to bring us down. This focus can be paralyzing, creating a sense of helplessness and despair. But by shifting our attention to one small, achievable action, we break the cycle of fear and inertia. That step could be an act of prayer, seeking knowledge, reaching out to a friend for support, or simply continuing with the task we had begun. The key is movement. Any forward motion, no matter how minor it seems, is a victory in itself. Faith plays a crucial role in taking that step. A believer understands that even a single act performed with sincerity can have far-reaching consequences. Allah reminds us in the Quran that good deeds, even if small, are never wasted. So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. Surah Al-Zalzala 99:7. When we take a small step forward, we are not merely acting in the material world. We are investing in our spiritual growth, cultivating resilience, and demonstrating our reliance on Allah. This simple act carries both immediate and long-term benefits, strengthening our confidence, our character, and our trust in the divine plan. Another important aspect of this principle is its ability to counter negativity. When enemies, critics, or even relatives celebrate our setbacks, it is easy to become consumed by anger, resentment, or self-pity. These emotions, while natural, often keep us immobilized, giving our adversaries the power to dictate our emotional state. By focusing on one simple step forward, we reclaim that power. We assert control over our actions, our mindset, and our journey. We remind ourselves that our worth is not determined by the applause or criticism of others, but by our own efforts, our intentions, and our faith in Allah. The one simple step also teaches us patience and consistency. Progress is rarely instant, and success is rarely immediate. Great accomplishments are built upon small, repeated efforts. Every step, no matter how humble, contributes to long-term growth and eventual triumph. This approach encourages perseverance, even in the face of repeated failures or setbacks. It shifts our focus from the enormity of the challenge to the power of consistent action, helping us stay grounded and motivated regardless of the obstacles we encounter. Taking a simple step forward is also a source of empowerment. It reminds us that we are never helpless, no matter the circumstances. While we may not be able to control every situation or the actions of those around us, we always have control over our choices and our response. Each step, no matter how small, is a declaration of faith, courage, and resilience. It signals to ourselves, to others, and to Allah that we refuse to be defined by adversity, that we are committed to growth, and that we trust in His guidance. Finally, taking one simple step forward opens the door to transformation. What begins as a small, seemingly insignificant action can set off a chain of events that changes the course of our lives. It may lead to new opportunities, strengthen relationships, inspire others, or deepen our connection with Allah. The Prophet demonstrated this throughout his life. Small, consistent actions guided by faith led to profound and lasting impact. Similarly, each step we take with sincerity, courage, and reliance on Allah can lead to outcomes far greater than we can imagine. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, when life feels overwhelming, when enemies rejoice, when relatives doubt, and when challenges seem insurmountable, remember the power of one simple step forward. Do not wait for perfection or for conditions to be ideal. Do not be paralyzed by fear, disappointment, or anger. Take that one step in faith, patience, and trust in Allah. Move forward with courage and consistency. Let that step become a pathway to growth, resilience, and eventual triumph. In the eyes of Allah, no step taken with sincerity and determination is ever wasted, and no effort rooted in faith is ever in vain. Take that step today and trust that Allah will guide your journey towards success, peace, and fulfillment. Prayer and the remembrance of Allah are the cornerstones of a believer's strength, the sources of tranquility in the heart, and the anchors that hold us steady amidst the storms of life. Life is full of trials, challenges, and moments when we feel overwhelmed or unsupported. Sometimes it is the world that turns against us. Other times, even those closest to us may fail to understand, support, or encourage us. In these moments, the soul seeks refuge, and there is no refuge greater than turning to Allah in prayer and remembrance. It is through this connection that the heart finds peace, the mind finds clarity, and the believer finds renewed courage to continue the journey with steadfastness and hope. Prayer, my dear brothers and sisters, is not merely a ritual. It is a lifeline. It is a conversation with the Creator, a moment of vulnerability where the believer places trust in one who knows all, sees all, and controls all. The Quran reminds us and seek help through patience and prayer, and indeed, it is difficult except for the humbly submissive. 2:45. This verse emphasizes that prayer is a source of strength, particularly during times of difficulty, when enemies rejoice at our setbacks, or when relatives fail to support us. Prayer becomes a sanctuary for the heart. It is a moment where worldly distractions, doubts, and negativity fade, and the soul is reconnected to the one who is infinitely powerful, merciful, and wise. Remembrance of Allah, or dhikr, complements prayer and serves as a constant reminder that we are never truly alone. Life may present obstacles, betrayals, or setbacks, but when the tongue, heart, and mind engage in the remembrance of Allah, the believer is reminded of the eternal truth. Allah is near, He is watching, and He is aware of every hardship we endure. Dhikr cultivates mindfulness, strengthens faith, and shields the heart from despair. Even a simple phrase uttered with sincerity can transform anxiety into serenity, fear into courage, and confusion into clarity. Through remembrance, the believer anchors themselves in the reality of Allah's presence, drawing courage and hope from this intimate connection. Prayer and remembrance of Allah also provide a framework for resilience. Life is unpredictable, and challenges often arrive when we least expect them. Enemies may seek to harm us, relatives may fail to support us, and circumstances may appear overwhelmingly difficult. In these moments, the strength derived from prayer allows us to respond with patience, dignity, and wisdom rather than anger or impulsiveness. It helps us pause, reflect, and redirect our energy toward constructive action. Each act of prayer, each moment of dhikr becomes a step towards stability and spiritual fortitude, reminding us that our ultimate reliance is not on human validation but on Allah's guidance and mercy. Moreover, prayer and remembrance foster hope. A believer who turns to Allah consistently in times of hardship understands that setbacks are temporary and that Allah's mercy and support are limitless. The Prophet Muhammad taught that when a believer turns to Allah in need, Allah responds in ways that may surpass human understanding. This awareness transforms trials into opportunities for growth and perseverance. Each prayer is an affirmation that we have not been abandoned. Each remembrance a reassurance that our efforts and endurance are recognized by the Most High. Through this lens, even moments of despair are reframed as opportunities for spiritual elevation and personal development. The connection established through prayer and remembrance also strengthens character. A heart anchored in Allah's presence is less susceptible to negativity, bitterness, or resentment. When people celebrate our setbacks or when relatives fail to stand by us, a believer grounded in dhikr and prayer responds with composure and wisdom rather than retaliation or despair. Their dignity remains intact, their patience endures, and their actions reflect strength and moral integrity. This inner strength, cultivated through spiritual practice, becomes evident to others, commanding respect and demonstrating the power of faith in action. Furthermore, prayer and remembrance cultivate gratitude and perspective. In moments of difficulty, it is easy to focus on what has been lost, what has gone wrong, or how others may have wronged us. Yet, consistent prayer and dhikr remind the believer of the blessings still present in their life and of Allah's infinite wisdom in all circumstances. This perspective nurtures contentment, resilience, and the ability to see challenges as temporary tests rather than permanent obstacles. By grounding the heart in gratitude and remembrance, the believer navigates life's hardships with a sense of purpose and trust in Allah's plan. Ultimately, prayer and remembrance of Allah are transformative. They turn fear into courage, despair into hope, weakness into strength, and confusion into clarity. They remind the believer that true power lies not in human approval, circumstance, or material success, but in a heart connected to the Most High. When enemies celebrate our failures, when relatives disappoint us, or when the path forward seems unclear, it is through prayer and dhikr that we regain perspective, strength, and courage. These acts of devotion anchor the soul, fortify the heart, and empower the believer to take steps forward with trust, patience, and confidence. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, let us hold fast to prayer and the remembrance of Allah. Let them be our refuge in times of difficulty, our source of courage in moments of fear, and our guide when the path ahead seems uncertain. Remember that every prayer, every act of dhikr, and every sincere connection with Allah strengthens the heart, protects our dignity, and opens doors to divine guidance, mercy, and support. When the world seems against us, when those closest to us falter, and when adversity surrounds us, let us turn to Allah, for in His remembrance lies the ultimate strength, peace, and resilience that no opposition can ever diminish. Optimism and hope are two of the most powerful qualities a believer can cultivate, for they shape not only our perspective, but also the trajectory of our lives. In moments of adversity, when enemies rejoice at our setbacks, when relatives fail to understand or support us, or when the path ahead seems uncertain and daunting, it is optimism and hope that allow the heart to remain steadfast, the mind to remain clear, and the spirit to remain resilient. These qualities are not naive or superficial. They are grounded in the knowledge of Allah's mercy, wisdom, and perfect planning. They remind us that no situation is permanent, no hardship is meaningless, and no setback is beyond redemption. The Quran repeatedly emphasizes the importance of hope and trust in Allah. Allah says, "So do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful." Surah Az-Zumar 3:9-53. This verse is a profound reminder that no matter the difficulties we face, no matter the opposition we encounter, and no matter the failures or mistakes we perceive in ourselves, hope remains alive as long as we turn to Allah with sincerity. Optimism in the life of a believer is rooted in this understanding that Allah's mercy is vast, His knowledge is perfect, and His wisdom is beyond human comprehension. When we internalize this truth, we are able to face challenges with courage and maintain hope even in seemingly hopeless situations. Hope also fuels perseverance. When adversity surrounds us, it is easy to succumb to despair or to feel defeated by the circumstances of life. Yet optimism reminds us that no matter how severe the challenge, there is always a path forward. It encourages us to keep taking steps, even small ones, toward our goals, trusting that Allah will guide us, open doors, and provide opportunities that we may not yet see. The believer who holds on to hope understands that life is a series of tests and trials, and that each difficulty carries within it the potential for growth, learning, and eventual success. This hopeful outlook transforms obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons, allowing the believer to rise stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. Optimism is also a powerful shield against the negativity of others. When enemies celebrate our failures or when relatives disappoint us, it can be easy to internalize their judgments, to allow bitterness or resentment to take root in our hearts. However, hope enables the believer to rise above these negative influences by focusing on Allah's guidance and maintaining trust in His plan. The believer is no longer controlled by the opinions or actions of others. Hope empowers the heart to remain positive, the mind to stay focused, and the spirit to remain courageous. It allows us to respond with wisdom rather than anger, to act with patience rather than frustration, and to maintain dignity even in the face of adversity. Moreover, optimism and hope inspire action. A heart that believes in the possibility of improvement and success is motivated to take proactive steps, no matter how small. This aligns perfectly with the principle of taking one simple step forward in the face of challenges. Hope fuels the courage to act, while optimism sustains the momentum to continue. Together, they prevent stagnation and despair, transforming seemingly insurmountable obstacles into achievable goals. The believer who combines faith with hope and optimism is able to navigate difficulties not only with endurance but also with purpose, vision, and determination. Faith and hope are deeply intertwined. A believer's hope is not based on mere wishful thinking. It is grounded in the certainty that Allah is all-knowing, all-powerful, and infinitely merciful. Optimism does not ignore reality, nor does it deny the presence of hardship or opposition. Instead, it reframes our perspective, reminding us that behind every difficulty lies potential ease, growth, or divine wisdom. The Quran assures us indeed with hardship comes ease. Surah Al-Inshirah 94:4-6. This divine promise fuels hope, instills courage, and encourages the believer to maintain faith even when circumstances appear bleak. Optimism and hope also nurture gratitude and perspective. When we focus solely on setbacks or challenges, it is easy to become consumed by despair. Yet a hopeful heart recognizes that life is a balance of trials and blessings, challenges and opportunities. Optimism allows us to see the potential for improvement, the hidden benefits in adversity, and the ultimate justice of Allah in all matters. This perspective keeps the believer grounded, patient, and resilient, reinforcing the understanding that no hardship is wasted and no effort is in vain. Finally, optimism and hope shape our destiny. A believer who approaches life with hope, courage, and faith creates a mindset that attracts perseverance, resilience, and divine support. Challenges become temporary, opposition becomes a lesson, and setbacks become opportunities for growth. By maintaining hope and optimism, the believer aligns their actions with faith, strengthens their character, and prepares the heart to receive Allah's guidance, mercy, and reward. Hope transforms life's trials into a journey of spiritual growth, personal development, and eventual triumph. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, no matter the opposition we face, no matter the setbacks we endure, and no matter the disappointment we experience from those closest to us, let us embrace optimism and hope. Let our hearts remain positive, our spirits resilient, and our faith unwavering. Trust that Allah's plan is perfect, that His mercy is infinite, and that every hardship carries within it the potential for growth, success, and elevation. When we combine optimism and hope with patience, prayer, and action, we create a life guided by faith, illuminated by trust, and strengthened by the certainty that Allah's help is always near, and that our ultimate victory is already decreed. My dear brothers and sisters, life is a journey filled with trials, opposition, and moments when the world may seem against us. Sometimes even those we love and trust may fail to support us. Enemies may rejoice at our setbacks, and challenges may appear insurmountable. Yet in every trial lies an opportunity. Every difficulty is a test. Every obstacle a chance to grow, and every setback a step towards something greater. Remember to be aware of the tests that life brings. For awareness allows us to respond with patience and wisdom instead of despair. Strengthen your faith, for it is the anchor that steadies the heart when the storms rage, and the guiding light that illuminates the path when all seems dark. Practice patience and maintain your dignity, for your character is far more important than the fleeting judgments of others. Take one simple step forward, even when it seems small, because progress is built on action, perseverance, and faith. Hold fast to prayer and the remembrance of Allah, for they are the sources of strength, guidance, and peace in every hardship. And above all, cultivate optimism and hope, for with faith, patience, and trust in Allah, no challenge is permanent, no darkness eternal, and no setback insurmountable. So, when enemies celebrate your struggles, when relatives doubt or disappoint you, and when life feels heavy, Do not lose heart. Stand tall with faith, move forward with courage, and let your actions reflect the strength, patience, and dignity that Allah loves. Take that step today. Trust in His plan, and know that every hardship you endure, every effort you make, and every trial you face is preparing you for a greater rise, a higher success, and a closeness to Allah that nothing in this world can take away. Hold your head high, keep your heart firm, and march forward, for Allah is with the steadfast, the patient, and the hopeful. Your victory is already written. Your efforts are never wasted, and your journey, guided by faith, prayer, and trust, will always lead you to triumph in this life and the hereafter.